How the Grump Stole Everything. A takeoff on how the Grinch stole Christmas, with apologies to Dr. Seuss. Most folks in the US like people a lot, but the Grump, who lived in the White House, did not. The Grump hated people, no matter the season. Now, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be, perhaps, that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. The narcissism at the root of it all. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he sought groups of people to hate and abuse. By himself in the White House with only his phone, he wondered, how come my wife leaves me alone? He feared people of color would soon overtake us. Mexicans, Black folks, and Asians would make us adhere to their wishes, be in their control, that they'd take over the land and put whites on the dole. Then he growled, with his Grump fingers nervously drumming, I must find some way to stop minorities coming. For one day soon he knew all the brown girls and boys would grow up and take over. To govern they'd choose, and then, oh, to lose, oh, to lose, oh, to lose, 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 lose. That's the one thing he hated, to lose, 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 lose. Then the people of color'd sit down to a feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, 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 feast. They would feast on tamales from pans that were greased, which was something the Grump couldn't stand in the least. And 2, they'd do something he liked least of all. Every Latino person, the tall and the small, would dress in their finest, a necklace or ring, and stand for their culture in all their fine bling. They'd wear bling, and more bling. They'd wear bling, 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 bling. And the more the Grump thought of this Latino bling, the more the Grump thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 79 years I've put up with it now. I must stop Latinos from coming. But how? Then he got an idea, an awful idea. The Grump got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do, the Grump laughed in his throat. And to immigration he turned with a gloat. And he chuckled and clucked, what a great grumpy trick. With federal agents, I'll manage this quick. All I need is great numbers of boots on the ground. But since agents were scarce, not enough could be found. Did that stop the Grump? No. The Grump simply said, with unlimited power, I'll appoint more instead. So he overrode Congress and ordered masked men to separate families and terrorize them. Then he loaded up jail cells and foreign-bound planes, denying due process to all Juans and Janes. And each man in their vans wore a mask as a shield, so the people they caught were afraid and would yield. And they drove all over to different locations to ransack workplaces and school graduations. Abducted from shopping malls, midnight and morning, Latinos were taken, no rights read, no warning. They might be with family, at work, or in church. Nowhere was safe from this illegal search. "This is step number 1, the old grumpy man hissed, and the unconstitutional cries he dismissed. As agents took over his illegal spree, he turned his attention to, what about me? Determined, he thought, a Nobel to win, he moved to the world stage to manage the spin. He thought he'd make peace wherever he went, and he tried in Ukraine and in Gaza, hell-bent, to order ceasefires and make them stop fighting. In all that he did, he thought he was righting the wrongs that would bring him a Nobel Peace Prize. But alas, he's a hero in only his eyes. So he turned his gaze homeward again to destruction, and took his next steps from a book of instruction by Russell T. Voigt, who would remake our land, to a white Christian stronghold, democracy damned. In pursuit of destroying what was a great nation, Grump leveled departments with utter predation. Agriculture, commerce, defense, education. AID, labor, and Veterans Affairs, nothing was safe from his evil crosshairs. But the people rose up to defend our foundation from his lies and his greed and his self-adulation. Citizens all throughout the whole land, they stood and in one voice made this demand. From all points of the compass you could hear their joint cry, "Mr. President, why? Why are you trashing democracy? Why?" But you know, that old Grump was so smart and so slick, he gave them a reason he thought he'd make stick. "Why, you radical lunatics," the Grump in chief lied, "I received a mass mandate to rule and to guide, to make the state great for all of our sakes, where I'll do as I please, with no guardrails, no brakes." And his brag fooled some people, some MAGAs, some keen to believe him like M. Taylor Green. He continued his war on our values and laws. He set himself up as a king with no flaws. He amassed untold fortunes in crypto and gold, lining his pockets with planes and lands sold. He bilked universities and threatened to sue all who attempted to fight him, ×2. He lied about everything, from peace to stockpiles. He reneged on his word to release Epstein files. He chanted more tariffs, unmoved by inflation. And he worked day and night to bring down this great nation. He destroyed the White House, the people's, they say, the entire East Wing, so he could partay. In a ballroom he's building to lionize Grump. It's in shambles. He's turned it all into a dump. He tried to make bow down the mighty EU. He unfriended the UN. What allies? Pooh-pooh. And for all other countries, he trampled them too. It was just 10 months into his administration, most MAGAs still cheering the collapse of the nation, when Grump, proud and preening in the White House press room, recalled his successes, his gifts, and from whom. "I'm showered with presents from near and afar, with crypto investments and planes from Qatar. I've unbridled power and riches incessant. With my pals, I have secrets about adolescence. I'm richer than Croesus, he was grumpily humming, and I did scare away all Latinos from coming. To hell with the country, I'm getting my due, and my enemies all must kowtow to me too. Those radical left lunatics will all cry, boo-hoo. That's a noise, grinned the Grump, that I simply must hear. So he paused, and the Grump put his hand to his ear, and he did hear a sound rising up from below. It started in low, then it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. The sound sounded glorious. It couldn't be so, but it was quite victorious. He stared over at Congress. The Grump popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. There were members of Congress, those who are red, who voted with Democrats, defiance to spread. He'd not stopped the file's release. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grump, with his Grump sneer and hands clenched quite tight, stood puzzling and puzzling. What's wrong with the right? They're turning against me. Their conscience they vote. Epstein files to open. Aren't I the next goat? And he puzzled in the wee hours till his puzzler gave way, posting rants on Truth Social from his golden bidet. I can win them all back if I change what I say. And he ordered release of the files that day. And what happened then? Well, in Congress, they say that the Grump's tiny heart grew much smaller that day. Representatives put forth the Epstein denouncement, and M. Taylor Greene made a major announcement. She'd depart halls of Congress in the coming new year, and turned on the Grump to Epstein victims' loud cheer, followed by others who said they won't run in the midterms next year, 'cause it's no longer fun. They've been threatened and blackmailed to do the Grump's bidding. A thugs had control of the Congress. How fitting that now things are changing. His Congress is quitting. And Grump's health is failing, or so it would seem. That he won't last his term may not be just a dream. We look forward to justice, like the Nuremberg trials. On the stand, we are certain to hear his denials of his bribery, lying, his breaking our laws, his greed and his power grabs with not even a pause. For pardoning charlatans, gangsters, and frauds, for January 6 rioters released without cause, breaking his oath in ways too numbered to mention, for threatening SNAP, health insurance, and pensions, for destroying our friendships with all, not just Haitians, for aid and support of enemy nations, specifically Russia, he befriended and wooed. And for all of the women, he surely Me Too'd. Grump, you're soon finished. We've been keeping score. You think 2020 was bad? You're about to explore what happens when a president ignores his own oath and tramples his homeland and stifles its growth. We're hoping you're soon gone, O Benedict Grump, that we all will be free of this Grumpian slump. You're finished, and we hope we soon can erase the mess that you've made of our country post haste. We want this to be over and you to be gone. To that end, no king's days will keep pressing on to deep six you from power and heal up our grief. And for peoples worldwide to feel the relief of America back as an ally and friend. So to make all that happen, we'll work without end. We are here. We oppose you. We'll act to remove you and all of the fakes you approve in top-notch positions. They all will be gone. We'll even put roses back on the south lawn of the White House, where they rightly belong. To everyone on either the left or the right, we wish you a season that's merry and bright. We are in this together, for certain. Here's why. We all want lower prices on all that we buy. On groceries, on health care, on meds, gasoline, on the price of our clothing, on beer and caffeine. We've seen what he's doing with tariffs and such. It's time he departed. He's so out of touch with all who had voted for him for so much. None of us are invited, it's safe to assume, to party with him in his golden ballroom. So let's get him out of the White House. Let's choose to do this together, the Reds and the Blues. Until his departure, we'll uncover his lies. We'll plan and we'll fight and nonstop organize to defeat this orange monster and drive him from power. Stay tuned. His fortunes change hour to hour. Merry Christmas.